everyone, welcome back to English class with me, Miss Novia. And can you please turn on your camera and mute yourself unless you want to talk something? I hope you are in a good health today. And also don't forget to fill your attendance in Google Form that I've provided in Edmodo before 9 a.m. today. Okay? So before we start our lesson, let's pray together. Praying begin. Finish. Now I will share my screen. Wait a minute. Can you see my screen? And now I want you to open your Quizizz and join Discord because we will have an interactive presentation for today's class. So this is our fifth meeting of our English class. Now let's get started. So have you read Malin Kundang, The Legend of Tangkuban Perahu, or Timon Story? Yes, they are such an interesting story, right? So you all have ever read Malin Kundang story, The Legend of Tangkuban Perahu, and now I have a video to show.
A story about Malin Kundang. He was a boy from a very poor family who lived with his mom. His father is a sailor, but he had already died. Malin was a smart boy. When Malin grew up, he decided to go to city, so one day he will become rich by the time he went back to the village. Malin's mother disagreed with his decision because he was the only one she had. But Malin had already made up his mind. His mother had no other choice but to let her only child go. Malin was traveling by sea, so he came along with one rich merchant. He was hoping to become one of his crew and learn from that merchant. Malin went to any place wherever the winds took him. Soon he will become a great successful man. Many years has passed since then. Malin has become a rich merchant because of his hard work and married the most beautiful girl in the world.
So that's the video of Malin Kundang story. What we are going to learn today. Yes. We are going to learn about narrative text. Okay. Text is a piece of text which tells a story and entertains the reader or listeners. It is a story with complications or problematic events and tries to find the solution. Yeah, now you have an overview about what narrative text is, and let's learn more about narrative text. And we'll go to the next slide. Now we will learn about the purpose of narrative text. Yeah, so it's crystal clear that the purpose of narrative text is to amuse or to entertain the reader by reading a story. Now we will learn more about the generic structure of narrative text. The first one is orientation. It is about the opening paragraph where the characters of the story is introduced. So in this part, we will know who is the characters of the story, and then where it happens and when it happens. It is used to introduce who are involved in the story. Next, we have complication. It is where the problems in the story is developed. And then resolutions. It is where the problems in the story is solved. The last is, but not least, or it is reorientation or coda. This is optional. That usually in narrative text there are lessons from the story that we can get. That it is usually stated in the story, but it's optional. Now we move on to the language feature of narrative text. The first one, narrative text is using past tense. For example, is killed, drunk, and for example, the sentence is the tiger killed the mouse. And next, it use adverb of time. For example, once upon a time, one day, once, and usually it is stated in the beginning of the story. Like once upon a time, there lived a mother and his son. Next is time conjunction. Next is time conjunction. For example, is when, then, suddenly. And next is specific character. So in the narrative text, usually will be many characters that involved in the story. So the character of this story is specific and not general. For example, like Cinderella, Snow White, Timun Mas, Malin Kundang. Also, in narrative text used action verbs, it is a verb that shows an action. For example, like killed, drug, walked, played, and yeah, because it is narrative text, so we should remember that we have to use past tense. And the last is direct speech. It is also known as dialogues. It is to express attitudes, personality, and relationships in the story. For example, the sentence is Snow White said, "My name is Snow White." Now let's take a look at the example of narrative text. So the story is entitled "The Ant and the Dove." Mm. And now, can you tell me which part is this first paragraph? Maybe Yulia? Yeah, this first paragraph is called orientation. So it is, we know the time, one hot day, and the character is an ant, and what he is doing and introducing the character here in the story. And now the second part, anyone can tell me which part is the second paragraph? Yeah, yes, you are. Yeah, you are correct, Dinda. This is complication. So this one is when the problem is raised and then increased in the story. And now, last but not least, can you tell me what part is the last paragraph? Yes, you're right, Diana. So the last part of this text is called resolution. This is where the problem is solved in the story. You have done such a great job, everyone. So I have some quizzes for you to answer here. Yeah, the answer is long time ago, once, one day, and you can also answer when, then, after, like that. Yes, you have done such a great job, Julia. So what are the general structures of narrative text? So the answer is orientation, complication, resolution, and the last is reorientation, or we can call it code. Now we will be doing group works. So I will divide you into a pair. So each group consists of 2 students, and your pair is based on the attendance list. And each pair should analyze the general structure and the linguistic features of Malikudan story that I've provided in Edmodo. You can open that right now. And you have 15 minutes to discuss and to discuss with your pair on WhatsApp or in these breakout rooms in these Zooms or in other online meeting application that you prefer. Then I will choose recruits randomly to present their works later if you are finished. Well, this already 20, and I want Risa and Rafa to present their works. All right, good job. And for other groups, you can submit your work in Edmodo in work group slot they have provided later. Thank you. Okay, after doing a work in pairs, now you have to do a individual task. So, based on your reading, about Malin Kundang story, retell the story using your own words, and you can make the draft right now. Okay, and then after that, I want you to do a storytelling using your own draft, and then record that into a video file, and you can upload your video in YouTube, and then submit the link of the video in the Edmodo before next week class. So students, if you haven't done drafting your word, you can continue later because I think the time is almost up. And before I ended our class, can you tell me what we have learned today? Yeah, you're correct, Alan. We have learned about narrative text, about what is narrative text, and then the purpose of narrative text, the generic structure, the linguistic features, and some examples of narrative text. Thank you, Alan, for summing up our lesson today. All right, don't forget to fill your attendance once again before 9 a.m. and submit your homework before next week class. Thank you, class, for participating actively in this class today, and we'll see you next meeting, and stay safe and happy. Goodbye.